Line between conspiracy theory to established fact is 6 months. Okay, good. That's that's true for you. You had the most famous clip with Jake Tapper, where you said, "Yo, Joe Biden, he's got real problems up in the head." And, obviously that clip is now infamous, and Jake Tapper squealed and clutched his pearls. Now Jake Tapper's trying to make money off of the thing that you said was fact. And this morning, according to the New York Times, massive breaking story about Joe Biden and his auto pen, and how it is an absolute fact that you were right. What would it be, 5 years ago now, Laura?
Yeah, it was 2020.
That you were right. We have the clip right here. We'll just pop it up. But everyone's heard it before. Here's you saying this. Jake Tapper got so offended. And now, lo and behold, this morning, we find out that the entire administration was literally run by an auto pen. Your reaction here?
Yeah, well, I don't think this is a surprise, Benny, because we all looked at Joe Biden. In the clip that you're referencing, that was during the campaign when he was running for president, before he became president, and we were worried about him then. And throughout the course of his time as president, we all had questions, we all had concerns, we all saw him slipping, going up the Air Force One steps, falling off bikes, all these different things that were very concerning, not able to even really make coherent sentences in any sort of a press setting where everything was very set up. Everything was, he had very specific people he was supposed to call on. Very concerning to all of us. The funny part to me is the only actual signed, pardon that he gave in those last sloth of pardons, where he found like a 1,500 pardons that he, just kind of had to get him out, or someone did, was Hunter Biden's. He was the only one that Joe Biden actually signed. The auto pen was used for everyone else, and everything else, used for executive orders, used for everything under the sun. And constitutionally, I don't know, some people would say, oh, well, verbally, if he said okay, then that was acceptable. Do we believe that if we questioned Joe Biden on every single one of those pardons, he would be able to say whether or not he actually pardoned those individuals? I'll go back to Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, back in, I believe, January, when he had a conversation with Joe Biden about, limiting or preventing our liquid natural gas exports. And he said, why did you sign this executive order, Mr. President? Why did you do that? It's going to hurt the United States of America. And Joe Biden said, I didn't sign that. And Speaker Johnson said, yes, you did. Your signature is on this document. Benny, he didn't know what he was signing at almost any turn. So to believe that he knew what was happening within the running of the day-to-day in our government is ridiculous. To believe he knew what was happening with all of these pardons is ridiculous. And I think it's very telling that the only one they actually took the time to get Joe Biden to sign in all of this was Hunter Biden's, because that's the one that really had to stick, not just for Hunter, but for the entire Biden family, because they're all implicated in something that's a lot bigger and a lot more damaging and dangerous to the United States. Should Hunter Biden ever kind of go in front of Congress, have to go into another court of law and be questioned about a lot of things that happened during the time his father was vice president, all the way up through his end of his presidential term. And I'll couple that with, we also saw Joe Biden's doctor plead the fifth, every single question he was asked last week. So you tell me what's going on there. I think to most Americans, they look at that and they say, this guy had no idea what was going on. He certainly wasn't in control of the government. And I do think we need to get to the bottom of who is making all the decisions, because that's not how this country is supposed to run.
Yes. And this is what people voted for. This 77 million people voted for your father-in-law, obviously for this transparency, because we knew we were being lied to. We knew Joe Biden. We saw Joe Biden falling ass backwards down the stairs of Air Force One. We knew he wasn't running the country. We knew that they ran the Russia hoax. We knew that they ran the January 6th hoax. We knew that there was something else going on with the Trump assassination attempts. And the lies end up creating a real pressure cooker for people. And I think that might be part of the question with this Epstein saga, is that the pressure, we've been lied to for so long by people, decades of this, and it's been abuse, and people, much like a dog that's been, you lash out, right? You bite when somebody even puts their hand near you. I think people are just, they have such a high pressure incidence right now that they just want full transparency on just absolutely everything. You and your show have spoken with so many individuals throughout the administration. I think you've scored the only interview with Susie Wiles, for instance. which was very interesting. Hearing her take on Elon was fascinating. What would be your advice? Given this back and forth, we're just coming off of Turning Point here in Tampa. This was the topic of conversation. What would be your advice in order to take the temperature down on this issue from within the administration?
Well, I do think that there needs to be more transparency on this. And I think that will happen. I mean, look, I don't know what truly exists there, but I know that this is something that's important to the president as well. He does want transparency on all these fronts, that everything we're talking about, because it's frustrated him as well. He sat for 4 years like the rest of us did and saw lie after lie and saw our country just being sent down the wrong path. And it was really frightening and very upsetting to a lot of people to see. And I would actually say over the past 10 years, we've all kind of endured this. Prior to that, it was probably happening, Benny, but we just weren't as aware of it. It wasn't until Donald Trump came down that golden escalator that he just kind of blew the doors off of everything. And people started to wake up and realize, wait a minute, things are not as they have always been presented to us. And I do believe that you will see that. Now, as it relates to the president, I know that this is probably not his number one thing he's focused on. He's focused on a lot of other important things. We've got this big announcement with Russia going on, I think, as we're speaking right now at the White House. We have, a Middle East, we're trying to get peace over there. We're trying to make sure that Iran's nuclear arsenal is obviously completely decimated. We want to make sure everything is on the right track for this country. Fortunately, we've seen no border crossings in the last month. 0, by the way. I think that's incredible. No one's talking about that enough. 0 illegal border crossings in the month of June. Amazing how that's all gone. So I don't know that this was top of mind for him, but he hears all the noise and he hears all of the consternation out there. And I think he's going to want to set things right as well. So I believe that there will probably be more coming on this. And I believe anything that they are able to release that doesn't, damage any witnesses or anyone underage or anything like that, I believe they'll probably try to get out sooner rather than later because they hear it and they understand it. So hopefully we see that happen sooner than later. And I guess that would be my advice. But to everybody out there who's all worked up about it, there's no great plot to keep this information away that I'm aware of. I do just believe that maybe it's been slow rolled for reasons that hopefully we understand down the line. And I think we're probably going to get more transparency on it very soon.
It's